In the Perspectrum podcast, we discuss controversial topics. Outside of this context, Michael and I are both working professionals. While doing this show, we are not acting as agents or representatives of our respective institutions, and none of the views that we express reflect the outlooks of our employers. So don't come to my office and throw toilet paper at me.
And I don't have an office, but don't come to my cube. Hello and welcome to the Perspectrum. I'm Michael Bloom.
And I'm a shell of who I used to be.
If only you were the only person that I was seeing on a screen tonight who is a shell of who he used to be. Okay. We are doing
I'm broken. This has broken me. I am broken.
Yep.
So what are we talking about tonight, Michael?
Oh boy, if you haven't already guessed it, we are talking about the presidential debate that just occurred. And
yeah,
if you haven't been tracking this whole thing, yes, it's June, which is weird. And so we're doing kind of a live, or not live, we're doing like a quick react kind of show, specifically just focused on what the fuck we just watched.
Yeah, so we literally just finished watching the debate, like, before we started recording this. We haven't looked at any of the coverage, any of the analysis. This is just our immediate reaction. Usually when we've done these debate specials in the past, it's been a little bit after the reaction. This is the pure, raw, fresh reaction from us with no spin, no spin from other people. And
no
I'm
fact
broken.
checking, no interpretation. It's just,
I'm broken. Yeah. I am just broken. I'm gone. I'm gone. I goodbye.
Yep.
Goodbye. You've seen
it's
the old Nathan
crazy.
is gone. The old Nathan is dead. The new Nathan is here, and he's here to stay. And he is a cynical man that just I want to shove my hand in a meat grinder. I want to bash my face against 1,000-degree pavement. I want to take a giant piece of ice and just shatter it over my head.
Okay, I know this is a bit, but two things. First off, get help. Second off, second thing is, Nathan, this is exactly what the wrong response. This is what
really?
is always, yeah, dude. On a bit, like, on a serious-ish note, as our politics devolves and people do less that is worthy of, like, being in office and delivering on policies and all this stuff, our attention becomes very local.
Yeah.
We just, like, care about our own problems and our own issues, and we it's like, as our lives get harder because of the shit that they're doing that's terrible, we're just, like, self-immolating and, like, no, we should bash their faces in the 1,000-degree sidewalk.
Yeah. Okay. So, Michael.
Yeah. Okay. We should probably do, like, the basics for people that don't know what we're talking about or why we're talking about a debate in June and all that stuff.
Yeah,
just, like, level set for everybody.
Go for it.
Okay. Trump, the presumptive, Republican nominee for president. Biden, the Democratic nominee for president. Had a debate. No, RFK was not invited. The debate was hosted by CNN with moderators Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. And basically, Trump and Biden went around the Commission on Presidential Debates to arrange their own little private mini debate. So there's going to be one in June, I think one later on, I think it's in September, that they've talked about that, they made up their own rules. They had the thing organized, all that stuff. So a few things that are weird about this debate, and we can talk through, like, what we thought about each one of these choices and how it affected the ultimate conversation. But one, no studio audience. So there's no distracting group of people. It's just the moderators and the two candidates. Maybe that's a choice they could have made during COVID, but we'll forgive them.
I will never forgive them for anything again. Never, ever again.
That's fair. Man, this has really crystallized your anger and hatred. The other thing that was weird, but good, I thought, we can talk about it, is that the studio turned off the mics of the people that were not being, like, answering a question or didn't have their allotted time. So there was, like, virtually no interruption. Like, the cameras cut away from people when they were talking off mic, when their mic was muted. So like we just didn't have this cross-talking thing that has been a huge part of other debates, which could you fucking imagine if this debate still like they could just bicker at each other? They bicker at each other enough, but man. Yeah, and also like no notes or contact with their staff like during the debate. So it was just all kind of like the candidates doing their thing. So before we get into all this stuff, what did you think about the format kind of changes? Like any reaction?
So here's what I will say. I actually did like that there wasn't an audience. I appreciated that.
Yep.
Me
too.
You know, audience reactions can be distracting, honestly.
Yep. Yeah.
I was cool with that.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I will say about the mic thing. When I first heard about that, I thought, "Oh, great. Finally." Actually watching it, I think it helped Trump because it kind of put a bit of a leash on him. Cuz the thing about Trump and the thing like going into this that I was thinking is like he loses if he comes across as the babbling buffoon that we all know him to be. And the fact that he wasn't able to interrupt and talk over Biden like he did in that first debate last time around, where basically people decided that Biden won that by default because Trump came off as such a dick, like such a babbling, immature, buffoon, childlike dick, that I think this actually helped Trump.
Yeah, it's of course hard to assess the counterfactual. I could see that argument. At the same time, as sad as it is, the shining star of Biden in 2020 is not the candidate that we have in front of us today. And so like I think if Trump had been able to like talk over Biden, interrupt him, get him off his train of thought. I mean, he could barely stay on his train of thought when he was the only one being the conductor. If Trump was actually able to like interrupt him and stuff, I think we would have probably had 90 minutes of Biden like interrupting himself and like being talking circularly.
I don't know, but even
and all this stuff.
But even despite what I just said, I do prefer it this way. Like for future presidential debates, I hope that this is how they do it.
I totally agree, especially assuming that we have, full-grown adults. Let's say it this way: assuming no one on stage is wearing diapers. At
which
either
is
end
a
of
bold
the life
assumption given the two men that were on stage.
Then
that is
I
a
think
bold
it is
assumption.
Yeah. So yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a good thing. I also thought maybe we should just get into it. I thought Jake Tapper and Dana Bash did really well. They probably were helped by the fact that they could just be like, nope, you're not talking anymore.
Yeah.
And there was no audience to mute and all that stuff. But like, there were a number of times where they were like, well,
you didn't answer that.
You've got 60 seconds left.
Do you want to actually answer my question? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Look, I have issues with Jake Tapper and I have issues with Dana Bash. I have massive issues with Dana Bash, but I did think they did a good job. Like I thought the questions were fairly good most of the time.
Yeah.
I thought that they were substantive. I liked that. I felt like they held both candidates' feet to the fire pretty well. And I did like those times where there would be like, okay, you have 80 seconds. Would you like to actually answer what I said? And I also love that one moment where Trump was like, can I respond to what he just said? And Jake is just like, I'm about to ask you a question, but you can use your time for whatever you want. If you don't want to answer my question, that's fine. I like that. That was good. I thought the moderators did fine.
I thought so too.
Like they did a good job.
Yeah.
No major complaints.
Yeah, and I thought their jobs were made easier by having not a brawl on stage the whole time. So yeah.
Like, and it didn't feel like they were debating against the candidates like it sometimes does when they kind of have to cut off candidates that won't shut up.
Totally.
Like this was a better format.
The only thing though that like, I don't know, there was definitely like no room made for the moderators to do any fact checking. Now,
I don't like that.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I think moderators should be. I personally think moderators should be allowed to fact check.
Yeah.
I think that should be allowed.
Yeah, and there just like wasn't any of that.
Because the thing is, Trump was lying his ass off the entire
my
night.
gosh, I know.
Like, Biden said a few things that were inaccurate, but sometimes it was unclear
Sure.
if he said inaccurate things on purpose or if his brain was just cheese.
Sure. Which, like,
But like Trump was brazenly lying the entire fucking night.
Crazy.
Just lie. Like, just the easiest shit to disprove in the fucking world. Like, at one point he claimed that Biden currently had the biggest deficit ever. The deficit lowered. It was bigger under Trump. And then, you know what Trump fucking said? He claimed that the tax cuts, the fucking tax cuts that gave us a $1 trillion deficit, he claimed that they increased revenue and that they were working towards paying off the debt. What the fuck? Oh my God. That is the most brazen fucking lie I've ever heard in my goddamn life. And I've been doing a podcast about politics for what has it been, like 5 years now?
Yep.
Like, that is the most brazen lie I've ever seen in my life.
Totally. Yeah. And that's the thing. For Trump on a stage like this, lies are pretty much free.
Yeah.
Like, there just isn't consequence to lying on stage.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'd love your thoughts on, I had a few thoughts on, like, the times when Biden chose to fact check Trump and the way that he did it. I thought that was the kind of thing that might cost Trump something.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, maybe if a moderator did it, someone might listen. The fact checkers that are going off online right now, like, no one who's in the MAGA camp will listen, of course. But maybe some people in the middle, but to the degree that they're distrustful of media, probably not. But, like, there were some times, and I think Biden missed a lot of opportunities to fact check because, like, the whole thing would have been a fact check. But there were a few times where, you know, Biden, like, specifically called out, like, times when he said things were false. The thing that didn't quite work, but like, they kind of ended up both hurling at each other back and forth, is just calling the other person, like, a liar or like full of crap or malarkey in Biden's case.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, even when Biden did call something out as a lie, he was just so incoherent that it was hard to, like, it was hard to even be able to know, like, what the specifics were. Like, at one point, I'm pretty sure that he got, like, during one of the many times that they brought up Russia, which, by the way, like, they brought up Russia and Ukraine during a question about fucking, you know, recovering addicts, like people recovering from opioid addiction.
Yep.
Like, literally, you know, question about opioid addiction. First word out of Trump's mouth, Russia.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Oh my God. But anyways, like, at one point, Biden clearly meant to say Trump, but said Putin, and, like, got their names mixed up.
Yeah.
And he came off as a babbling fool.
Totally. Yeah.
Like,
yeah. He walks on stage,
babbling old man,
and he looks like as if someone on SNL were, like, this coming Saturday, I bet that there will be a, like, sketch or, like, a cold open or something about this, and someone will be dressed as a ghost, because Biden comes walking on a stage who he looks like he's like, you know, see-through. Everything about him is, like, white. He looks frail as all hell. Like, he and proceeds to, like, I don't want to talk about this, like, voice. Like, sure, he had a thin voice. Apparently he's got a cold or something. I don't know. But, like, the things that he was saying, his volume was very low. It came off as just kind of, like, not strong or whatever. But, like, all that stuff to the side. The points that he was making were only intelligible if you already knew what he was talking about.
Exactly.
And I think that was true for Trump as well. But for Biden, it was because he doesn't seem able to, like, land these points. Yeah. For Trump, it's because his brain is totally pickled in like, online garbage. But, like, for Biden, like, it's just he wasn't making these coherent sentences.
Yeah, like, there were a lot of instances in which, because it was an issue that, like, we've talked about, I knew exactly what he was trying to say. Like, I knew what he was going for.
Yes.
But if you are somebody that did not know what he was going for,
you'd be totally lost.
You're totally lost. Like, you have, you know, And then you had Trump come out, and he comes off as, for Trump at least, he comes off as composed.
He was so composed at the beginning. I was very nervous that he was going to stay composed, but but he largely did relative to some of his other performances.
Yeah, he did. That was the thing. And he actually did a really good job on some of the questions that should have been his weakest places, like on abortion.
It's true. I know.
Like,
he really did.
That should have been a place where Biden just hit it out of the park.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Because the country is with Biden on the issue of abortion. When Trump was trying to claim, like, oh, people, they didn't want Roe versus Wade, okay? They wanted the states to take care of it. Like, the easy response that Biden could have said is not true.
Yeah.
That is not true. 70% of people supported Roe versus Wade. They were against it being overturned. It is not true that that's what they wanted. You know who they want to be able to decide on abortions? Not the states, women.
Yeah.
Boom.
Totally.
Boom. That's all you needed to fucking say.
Totally.
That is all you needed to say.
And the thing is, like, oh man, it was so tough. That's the thing. Trump was like shadowboxing.
Yeah.
And he did well and was composed-ish because he wasn't fighting a real opponent. And to your point, if someone was on the other side, like really hitting these points, Trump would have looked terrible. But you could see what, and like, I don't remember exactly that moment from in Biden's response, but you could see cases like that where Biden was trying to say that thing.
Yeah.
But he would start off and like, oh, that's not true. It's simply the idea that, and 70% of 70% of Americans think that, and you're trying to do outlaw abortion. And it was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so like, so exactly your point. Like, he knew what he was doing going in. Biden had the facts, right?
Yeah.
And that was like, and we can talk about these different strategies maybe, but like Biden had a lot of information on his side. He had a lot of facts. I think he was aiming to do the performance that he has done in previous debates. Like, if I think back to like some of the debates against Bernie's great at debates. He lands these really strong, clear points. He's got facts at his fingertips. And Biden like almost kept up and like is hitting back on facts and stuff like that. He tried to do that performance, but he just couldn't make the points. He couldn't get to the conclusions. He couldn't state the statistics clearly. He couldn't, like, nothing that he said really landed, and nothing that he said, and none of his points like really hit. And so like even his attempts to fact check, most of the time they were just flat. They fell flat.
Yeah. God. I was basically live texting my family while we were while I was watching.
You got anything to read me?
My dad was kind of checked out.
Yeah, sure.
Interestingly enough, my mother was texting me a lot more. At one point, I said I texted them basically saying, "Please, for the love of God, Democrats, nominate somebody else. Please replace him. Literally anybody.
Yeah.
Harris would be better. I don't like Harris, but Harris would be better. Newsom would be better. I fucking hate Newsom, but Newsom would be better. Like, a hamster would be better." And my mother actually texted and said a groundhog would be better. Which, if for any of you who have ever lived on a farm before,
groundhogs are the bane.
Groundhogs are like they're monsters. All right, groundhogs are horrible. You know, when the rest of the country celebrates Groundhog Day, like rednecks like me are thinking you've never fucking seen a groundhog. All right. I had a dog growing up whose part of his ear was bitten off by a groundhog. All right, this big black lab mixed with a golden retriever got into a fight with a groundhog and got part of his ear bitten off. All right, that's how terrible groundhogs. That's how terrible groundhogs are.
Yeah,
and a groundhog would make a better candidate against Trump than Biden.
At least
my mother.
Yeah,
my mother said that.
If you've ever met Nathan's mom, she's a really nice, reserved lady.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
my sweet mother, who, by the way, hates Trump, and has been actively trying to like Biden.
Yeah, sure.
Trying to like Biden.
Yeah.
You know what? I was trying to like Biden during the debate. Like, going into it, I was like, all right, come on, Biden. You know, because in my mind, my hope, because like the closer we get to the election, the more I've been thinking, all right, we've been mean to Biden on this pod. We've been criticizing him on things that he rightfully should be criticized on.
Yeah.
But as we get closer to the election, we need to start shifting our gears a little bit and focus on criticizing Trump. And I was thinking, in my mind, I was thinking going into the debate, all right, so tonight I'm going to try to cheer for Biden. All right. And I'm going to go onto the pod and I'm going to try to say nice things about Biden. And then I watched that fucking debate performance.
Yeah, totally. That's the thing. It's like this. Okay. You could forgive someone who's like older and making mistakes and all this stuff, but not when you're fighting an existential political fight against someone who is like as big of a threat as Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And so like you, at this point, it's just insane to be like still on that stage and still like trying to pull that off. It was totally disheartening. And to your point, even people that wanted to be on his side are going away like, this is it? It's like literally having to choose between someone who's terrible and evil and someone who's like just not there.
Yeah.
And like, and I don't know, it's one thing to be like, oh, maybe he's not good at debating. He's older. He's not going to keep up with a debate like this or something like that. But it's like, yeah, but this is a hard fucking job.
It is.
This is a job that takes a lot of...
He was too old 4 years ago for it.
Yeah.
He was too old 4 years ago for it. We were talking about how much he had diminished 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at him.
Yeah.
Like
totally.
Look. I'm not, Biden used to be very sharp. Yeah. I know I've brought this example up 1,000 times, but 1,001 now. Go back and watch the debate that he had with Paul Ryan. All right. Watch the vice presidential debate that he had with Paul Ryan in 2012. He ran in circles around Paul Ryan while Paul Ryan picked up a cast iron skillet and repeatedly bashed himself in the face with it. Like, that is what happened.
Yeah.
That is exactly what happened. All right.
Yep.
And then in 2020, like, he was a shell of his former self.
Yeah.
All right. But at least he was mostly coherent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was slower, but he was mostly coherent. God, tonight, I don't even know. And I'm actually kind of surprised that it was this bad because,
Me
like,
too.
the State of the Union wasn't that long ago, and he was pretty with it for the State of the Union.
Exactly,
Where the hell did that Biden go? I don't know if the Fox News conspiracy theories are right or whatever, but if he was on drugs then, why didn't they give him his drugs again?
Exactly. If
give him those drugs.
Give him some drugs, please.
Pump him full of whatever the fuck you had him on for that.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm not saying that I believe that is the case. I'm saying that if that is the case, put him back on those drugs.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, I don't know. He was not really up to the task of he let Trump get away with a lot of lies. And sometimes he would like let him get away once or twice, but sometimes he would just let it keep going on. Like, like Trump made the claim like 2 or 3 times that Democrats were okay with killing babies after birth.
Yeah.
Before Biden was like, that's a lie.
And let's talk about that for a second. All right. This is something that pisses me the fuck off. Like, that, the basis of that. I am pissed off. In case that wasn't clear, I am pissed off.
Oh, wow.
I'm pissed off. Which I guess is better than disheartened. But I am, like, the basis of that. So Governor Ralph Northam, who was the governor of Virginia, at one point he was on this podcast episode where he was, he's a former doctor, and he was talking about DNRs for newborn infants.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do not resuscitates. Right. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
He was talking about instances where, like, a baby was born and they had orders not to resuscitate because the baby was in really bad shape. Right? That's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
He was talking about
you just can do.
Which is something that happens. Like,
full-grown people have DNRs, that's not murder.
Yeah, that's not murder. That's not abortion. That's not even abortion. That's just DNR. That's just a DNR. That's what he was talking about. And at the time that happened, the Republican media, the right-wing media, threw this fucking fit over it, saying, Democrats are for killing babies even after birth. They're for post-birth abortions. Like, that's what they were saying. And it was such a lie. It was such a lie. If you went back and actually listened to what the guy said, if you actually listened to it, he was talking about DNRs. It is such a brazen lie. And also, you know, I will point out the fact that on the issue of should abortion be allowed up to the point of birth, I recognize that my position on that isn't popular. All right? Because I do believe legally, yes. All right? The reason why I believe that legally is because the only time that really happens is when there is a situation where there is a situation where it is essential for the life of the parent.
Yeah.
The parent did not have access early to abortion care. Like that's how you get late-term abortions.
Yeah.
Now, I want to prevent late-term abortions, but the best way to prevent late-term abortions is to make sure that they're available at an earlier age.
Totally.
Or at an earlier point in the pregnancy.
Health care throughout the pregnancy to reduce the risk of complications right at the end of a pregnancy.
Exactly. But if those complications do happen, the problem with putting restrictions on them is that the way these restrictions are often handled is that unless the mother is on the table dying, the doctor's not going to be able to do anything about it. So that right there is why I actually do believe in abortion up till the up till the actual birth happens. I do believe that. I understand that that's unpopular, but I have a reason for that. All right? I just laid out my case for that. You can make an affirmative case for that, but the thing is, Biden doesn't believe that. He believes in Roe. And the way that Roe works, and this was one of the parts that he did kind of explain coherently. Like, this was probably his best moment, where he laid out the way Roe worked.
God damn it. Best moment is a randomly selected structure invented by Supreme Court justices in the 1970s.
Exactly. You know, but the way Roe worked is first trimester, no restrictions. Second trimester, maybe a few restrictions here and there. And then third trimester, states can basically do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
Like that's how it works. And that's what Biden was laying out. He said, I am for Roe. Like, that's where I'm at. Which means that the straw man that Trump was trying to create of Biden's position, which is that Biden's position is he believes in abortion at all levels up until the point of the birth, that makes him an extremist. And the fact of the matter is, the polls are actually with Trump on that. Like, that's an uncomfortable truth. The fact that a majority of people do not actually believe that abortion should be allowed up until the point of birth. That is where the polling is at. But that's not Biden's position. All right? And Trump's position is that you should allow states to ban it, even just completely outright. Like, he claims that he is for exceptions, but he says leave it up to the states.
I'm not going to require it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which means that states can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, which actually led, I think that was Biden's like other coherent good moment that he then totally fucking face planted on, where he said returning it to the states is like saying we should return civil rights to the states.
Yeah,
it's like that was a good
that was a good point. That was a very good point.
And then he like went off and talked about like, and rather than like making he went off and talked about like rape and incest, and rather than making a good point about like exceptions, he just started talking about it happens where the people and their uncles and brothers and sisters they and then the women need abortions, and it's like, oh god damn,
what did you just say?
Yeah.
Well, so like the politics of abortion is such that there is a way that Republicans can pretend that people are with them.
Yes.
Which is, again, the fact that a majority of people don't believe in abortion up till the point of birth. Now, there are two ways Democrats can handle that. All right? If a Democrat is not for late-term abortion, then you can just say that's a straw man argument. Or you could make the affirmative case for it. All right? You could try to do that. Like make a case like what I made, you know? Biden's approach was basically to try to call out the straw man.
Yeah.
And then to kind of put it back on Trump, say like this is where you and the rest of the Republicans are the extremists.
Mhm.
And the thing is, even though that was probably Biden's strongest performance in the debate,
Yeah.
it was so much weaker than it should have been.
Totally.
Because the abortion issue is such a slam dunk
It
for
is an
Biden.
absolute home run for Democrats and Biden. And it is a thing that both like Democrats and moderates are very passionate about, and that the Democrats win. And
Yeah.
it didn't capitalize on it at all.
Yeah.
It failed to like hold Trump to account at all, despite Trump's actual liability on abortion. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's the other thing is I think Biden just walked into, like, I don't want to necessarily give Trump credit for laying traps, but if there were traps, Biden walked into every single trap that was
Yeah.
laid. Like,
Yeah.
Trump got a question about his claim that he's going to administer mass deportations. This is something that, especially with like moderates and Democrats, is not popular, especially when you start to focus on, as the question did, married people, people with jobs, like
Yeah.
like the people that who are actually the most common cases of undocumented folks in the U.S., but who are not like the what people think of as undocumented people, and generally speaking, are not the people that are like politically targeted in this kind of rhetoric. And Trump, as would be expected, pivoted to talk about, the hundreds of thousands of people being killed by migrants in the U.S. as a result of Biden's open border policies. But then,
Which is a fucking lie.
then it is a fucking lie, and it's something that Biden should have called him on. But then he pivots to talk about how, like, these people are replacing veterans and how Trump is better for veterans. And Biden fucking just like a cat with a laser pointer goes after the veterans thing. And it's like, do both.
Yeah.
And starts talking about the PACT Act and stuff rather than like making an affirmative case for immigration or like arguing that, or like fact checking Trump on his incredibly fact-free claims about immigrant crime and jobs and Social Security and Medicare and hospitals and all of these terrible claims that he made, that literally Biden never once, despite making this this exact argument, thousands of immigrants are coming over to the border. They're killing people. They're causing crime. They're taking Social Security and Medicare, and they're causing our system to collapse, which Joe Biden has let happening. And they're overrunning our hospitals and replacing our veterans. Those are the 4 points that Trump made like probably 10 times. And Biden never once fact checked any of those. He never fucking argued against them.
Trump fucking claimed that more terrorists are flooding into our border than any time in American history. Yeah. What? Where is your fucking evidence? Where is your fucking evidence? Yeah. And then Biden's response was something like,
only three people were killed by terrorists, and it was under your administration. It was like,
yeah, and
he didn't do it.
And then Trump responded by saying something like, "Oh, those 3 people like Soleimani that I killed," and what? Wait, what are you even? I don't even know what this comment. Like, who died and who killed whom? Like, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what this exchange is.
It's just like internet brain versus old man yelling off his roof.
But oh my god, that fucking moment, the question about Social Security, which, God, the easy answer for Biden: cut the cap or eliminate the cap.
Yeah.
Like, which he has said, like, that has been a part of his platform. He could very easily just say, get rid of the cap on Social Security. Boom, boom. Just, you can explain really quickly, like what that means.
Yeah.
Explain really quickly
which is
what that
I
means.
think what he was trying to say, essentially.
I don't even know what he was trying to say.
Right.
But then it
because
goes to Trump.
We knew, yeah.
But then it goes to Trump, and he fucking says, no, you destroyed Social Security because of all of these illegals that you let across the border. I almost fucking screamed.
I know.
Because you know what the only thing that might be saving Social Security right now is going to be if we don't raise the cap? Immigrants.
Yeah, go fucking listen to our episode about immigration.
Go listen to our episode about immigrants.
Yeah.
And especially like undocumented immigrants pay into the system and they cannot receive any benefits from it. And here Trump is claiming that they're fucking draining it. They're adding to it and they're never taking anything from it. The opposite is true. It was such a lie. He is such a liar. And Biden did nothing to call out these brazen lies.
Nothing.
They were
Yeah, he
so
was just like-
brazen.
Yeah, he was literally Biden's response like, "Oh, the idea that illegal immigrants are taking our jobs, that's the reason we have the best economy." It's like 1 point. Make 1 point.
Hence why I am a shell of the man I used to be.
Honestly.
Oh my
It's-
God.
It's crazy.
Democrats, on my hands and knees, I beg of you, do not nominate this guy.
Yeah.
Do not nominate this guy. All right? Biden, drop out. Please drop out. I'm on my hands and knees, drop out. I cannot take 4 years of Trump. The world cannot take 4 years of Trump. Trump
Yeah.
is going to fuck the entire country so fucking badly. All right? Project 2025, he is going to reshape the entire federal government
Yeah.
with sycophants, all right?
Yeah.
With people whose only true purpose is going to be to deregulate everything, give billionaires and millionaires everything they could possibly want, take away your freedoms, all right? Take away your right to bodily autonomy, all right? Criminalize being transgender, criminalize being gay, like refuse to protect anybody based on any type of identity-based discrimination. All right, we know that because that is the plan that they are giving us.
Yeah, they literally wrote it all fucking
They
down.
literally wrote it all down. Ban your porn
Yeah.
because apparently that's also the government's job to fucking control your internet use.
Mhm.
They want to completely remake the entire government to destroy its ability to function in any way that will even remotely help regular Americans, that will
Yeah.
only help the elites.
Yeah.
This is a guy who said he's going to be a dictator on day one.
Mhm.
This is a guy that said that he wanted to suspend the Constitution. This is a guy that says that he wants to, like, create federal regulations that say that that, you know, there's only two genders and it's the one that you're born with. All right? He wants to take away your freedoms on that.
Mhm.
He wants to make sure that states can force a fucking 10-year-old to give birth. That's what he wants. That is who Trump is. I don't say all of these mean things because I just hate Biden. All right?
Yeah.
I say this because I hate Trump.
Mhm.
And he cannot be president. And if we run Biden, Trump will be president again. All right? That's what's going to happen. Biden is going to lose. He is going to lose. Please, on my hands and knees, I beg of you, don't run this guy.
Yeah.
I know that the DNC is a huge fan of the show. And they're probably listening right now. Like, Jesus
It's
Christ.
fucking crazy.
Get Biden to drop out. Literally,
moment-
replace him with anybody. Replace him with a ham sandwich.
I know.
Replace him with a bowl of oatmeal. Replace him with a rotten egg.
The absolute pit of this debate and of Biden's performance. Towards the end, they're talking about how old they are. Literally, the questions were, "You're really old." Like, is that a problem? And Trump, of course, goes off on how he's taken 2 cognitive tests and aced them. A cognitive test is your test of your cognitive ability.
He can identify a giraffe.
It's-
Like they show him a picture
yeah,
of a
it's
giraffe,
not
and they're like, "What is
fucking-
this?" That's a giraffe.
It's not a fucking IQ
That's not
test.
something you should be. That's not something you should be bragging about.
Yeah, you kind of pass or you don't pass. Like, I am in the
I
90th
am
percentile cognitive.
The best. I am the best at dementia tests. Okay. Nobody, and I mean nobody. And did you see that
To be
clip
fair,
earlier?
when he
where,
challenged Biden to a dementia test, I don't know.
Well, but did you see that clip where he got the doctor's name wrong?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
So,
That's pretty funny though.
so yeah, like Trump was bragging about his performance on the cognitive test. This wasn't during the debate. This was before that.
Mm-hmm.
But he was bragging about his performance on that, and then he got the doctor's name wrong.
Yeah.
Like in
That's
the
pretty
second,
ironic.
in the next sentence.
Yeah. But back to this moment. He's talking about these cognitive tests, and then he's like, and I just won 2 club championships, and Biden can't
Oh
hit a
my
ball
God.
50 yards, right? And then this is
God damn it,
Biden's
Biden.
response. Biden face plants immediately, and he's so obsessed with calling Trump a liar that he tries to call Trump a liar. I think this is what he was doing, trying to call him a liar about his height and weight, like about his health. And it was like, but he didn't claim that he was a certain height or a certain weight. Like, where are you getting this from? And then he tried to claim he was a better golfer, and they literally argued over handicaps on stage. We're talking about tens of millions of Americans watching you argue for why you should be president, and they're arguing over golf handicaps.
And then Trump had to be
Biden
the one to
serves up this, like, he just won't let it die, and so Trump gets to say, let's not act like children.
Yeah. Oh my God. The fact that Trump got to say that, and I was actually feeling it. Like, Trump said, let's not act like children, and I was thinking, oh my God, Trump was the adult in the room.
That's only the third time that we've agreed with Trump.
Was the adult in the room. These fucking guys were arguing about golf.
Yeah.
In a presidential debate.
And
they
honestly,
were arguing about who was the better golfer. And Trump had to be the one to say, let's not be children.
Those are the best points Trump made all night.
Well, I don't know if they were coherent. I don't know anything about golf.
No, me either.
Maybe they were coherent.
Trump assumed he was talking about a golf handicap. He was just talking about a normal handicap. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, it was really rough.
It was bad. So look, Trump won this debate. He won it hands down. And I feel like anybody that watched that debate and does not think that Trump won is like, if you believe that, bro, I mean, I got a really nice bridge to sell you. It's on Mars. It's made of unicorn horns. But you have to get it by going through a Stargate made out of adamantine. It's currently owned by Mothman, and you better act fast because the Loch Ness Monster and the Chupacabra have already put down offers.
Well, Nathan, I think there's really only one last thing to say about this debate tonight. We are so fucked. Fuck. Okay, and thank you for listening to The Spectrum. You hear from us again next week.